we're starting. All right. Yesterday, and the day before, we talked about multiplying, and we talked about raising powers to powers. Now, the addition to today is division. All right. Now, again, because we did such a great job, all right, the rules are essentially obvious, in my opinion. All right, if you multiply, what do we do to the exponents? You add them. So probably if you divide, you're going to what? Subtract. That is obvious. All right, but again, I want you to look up here because I'm trying to show you how to recreate the formulas for what you do just based off of something simple. All right, so look up so I can show you something. All right, you don't have to write this down. All right, now we said if I had, for example, x cubed divided by x squared. All right, yes, I know you know what the answer is. I'm just trying to show you something just in case you might forget something. We know that x cubed is x times x times x, and we know that x squared is x times x. All right, so what am I trying to show you? I'm trying to show you that now, if I say, what is x divided by x, everybody should say it's 1. And if I say this x divided by x, that is also what? 1. So I'm left with what? I'm left with 1x. All right, so that's how you can kind of figure things out if you forget exactly what the rule is. So the rule is for division, you subtract the exponents. All right, now I want to look at something else. If I have, for example, x squared over x cubed, that is equivalent to x, and then it would be x times x times x. So now what happens? All right, still x divided by x is 1, x divided by x is 1, and we now have what? The solution would end up being 1 over x, not just x. It's 1 over x. All right, there are more x's in the denominator than in the numerator. All right, so we would then have to leave the extra x in the denominator. All right, now if we subtracted, here's something else I'm trying to show you now. So please, the writing isn't as important as paying attention. All right, the writing isn't as important as please just pay attention. Let your mind absorb the information. Then we've got lots of problems. We'll be able to practice the rules. Right now, I'm trying to show you something really important. All right, so you could say x is equal to 3 minus 2, which is x to the first. All right, if I do that for the problem down here, it would be x to the 2 minus 3, which is what? X to the negative 1. So now we have a problem. All right, they weren't sure what x to the negative 1 is. Well, they proved what x to the negative 1 is, and I'm going to show you how they did that. But we would just say anything to the negative exponent, that just means you have to move it. Come on now, you're daydreaming. I can already tell you're not paying attention, and we're going to have problems here. All right, focus. It's first thing in the morning. You got to be attentive right now. Doesn't get any better. All right, so my answer is 1 over x. So we now have to say that x to the negative 1 is equal to 1 over x. Well, how do we know that? I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so I want everybody to watch how they figured these things out, because math has always just been about patterns and observing patterns and then making rules from the patterns. All right, so what I'd like to show you right now is if we said, for example, 2 to the 4th, that would be what? 16. If I asked you what 2 to the 3rd is, you could say that's what? 8. And then most of you, if I said what's 2 squared, you'd say that's what? 4. Now, 2 to the first power then would be what? 2. Now, what we're supposed to do now is we're supposed to say, well, what is 2 to the 0 then? All right. Now, again, the average kid would say 0, all right, because they're not following patterns. They just think they know instead of actually doing a little bit of thinking. Everybody in here should be able to obviously say that 2 to the 0, if I'm following patterns, which is what math is, it would be what? It would be 1. All right. Now, how do we know for certain it's 1 instead of 0? Because a 0 seems like a reasonable answer, but it doesn't fit the pattern. All right. So what am I saying? From here to here, I did what? I divided by 2. From here to here, I divided by 2. From here to here, I divided by 2. So if the pattern continues, it would be 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right. Then they said, well, math is about patterns, so then what would 2 to the negative 1 be? Well, now don't say something, right, without thinking about it, because most people don't know this. All right. 2 to the negative 1 would be obviously 1/2. If you said negative something, you're just not paying attention. All right. The negative exponent has absolutely nothing to do with the value of the number. And what do I mean by that? Whether it's positive or negative, that's what I mean. So we're strictly following patterns. So 2 to the negative 1 is the same as 1/2. Well, how did I know that? Because I'm continuing the pattern. What is 1 divided by 2? 1/2. All right? Now I want you to see this down here is to the first power. Put your hand down. Just watch like everybody else and listen. All right? So now I'm trying to get you to see here, if I don't want a negative exponent, I take the number and I move it down to the what? To the denominator. Simple as that. All right? Now, let's do another one. If I said 2 to the negative 2, what would that be? 1/4. Because if I take half and I divide it by 2, I'm left with what? 1/4. Right? Well, that's the same. 1/4 is the same as 1/2 squared. So again, the pattern is the same. Is everybody with me? When you have a negative exponent, you just make it positive by moving it down in the denominator. All right? Is everybody good with that? That's why when we say you divide, you subtract exponents, you have to be careful. If there's more in the numerator, you put it in the what? Numerator. If there's more in the denominator, you keep it in the what? In the denominator. And you will see that played out on all of these problems. All right? So again, listen carefully. Very simple. Today we're going to do the odds, and tomorrow we're going to do the evens. It's really simple. It's really, really simple. This is, again, can you follow rules? That's all it is. Can you follow rules? All right? So now you have 3 super important rules. We have multiplying, we have dividing, and we have powers to powers. And if you forget the rules, I've tried to teach you how you can recreate the rules. All right? So you don't have to memorize anything. I'm trying to see if you can reason through these things and come up with the right answer. All right? The only other thing that was difficult today was dealing with the negative exponents. All right? So we're going to spend some time and do that. All right? So everybody, let's look at number 1. Now, for you guys, listen to me. I appreciate the fact that I don't want you writing the problem down unless it requires more than one step. Is everybody with me on this? All right. So number 1, you should be able to just tell me the answer. All right. No, I will call on you. You be quiet. Your talking privileges are over. I'm going to get control. All right. So number 1, Miles. Now all I want you to be able to say is t to the third, u to the third. Now, if you're having issues with that, raise your hand. You should have written that down before. Just like in a minute, while I scroll over to number 3, you're going to write 3 down before I tell you what the answer is, or before someone tells me what the answer is. All right? Now, I want to keep in mind, and this is a good practice, if I don't see an exponent, it's a what? It's a 1. Keep that in mind. All right? Now, remember what I'm telling you now. All right? We got only one more test, I think. All right, before we get going. Maybe 2. All right, some of you are borderline. Don't make a mistake on this. This is easy now. You just got to practice the rules. Pay attention. All right, it's not difficult. Speak up when you're having trouble. All right, now I'm going to slide over to number 3, and you're going to write the answer down. All right? Before we tell you what the answer is. All right, number 3 equals. I will call on you. All right, Ellis. What are you thinking? M to the first. R to the third. You could say P to the 0, or you could just leave what? Leave it out. All right, P to the 0 and P to the first are not the same, guys. Everybody agree? If I say what is P cubed divided by P cubed, everybody should say that's obviously what? 1. Anything divided by itself is what? 1, except for 0 divided by 0. We'll talk about that later. All right, anything divided by itself is always what? 1. That's why we said over here, anything, look right here, anything to the 0 power is what? 1. Does that make sense now? Why anything to the 0 power is 1. The reason it should make sense is because it was what? Patterns. They just kept going with the pattern. Everybody okay with that? All right, so if you put P to the 0, am I marking it wrong? No, it's just unnecessary. It is just unnecessary. All right, so here we go. I want to have number 5. Number 5 equals. All right, everybody write the answer. I'm going to call on you when I think you're ready. All right, Miss Bain.
So I got
G to the first, H to the first, and M to the first. All right, now it looks kind of silly to put the 1s there. Does everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
So you just write GHM. Is it okay to put to the first power? Yes, of course. It's okay to do that. All right, now let's take a look at question number 7. Write your answer down. All right, Will. X, Y, Z. Everybody agree? Simple, simple, simple. All right, very easy. What? Go ahead. Now, I don't want to, we got so many problems, so you don't have to worry about what ifs. That's the answer to number 7. Anybody have any questions with number 7, the way it stands? All right, let's find number 9. All right, now why do we have a problem? Because that's exponents. All right, Connor, help me out with number 9. All right, first of all, look at the fraction. Does anything reduce in the fraction? No. So now you just have to tell me how to square that. So if I square that, what's that going to equal? No. Come on. Seriously. Read this number. 2 what? Is what? You just said 2 to the second power is 1. Why did you say 1? I don't know either. All right. You understand why it's 4, right? All right. Come on now. Wake up. 4. What's next? Good job. 8 to the 6th. Now what? There you go. Over. Which is? Yes, sir. There you go. Come on now. Tell me. That's not hard, right? That's not hard at all. Thank you. You are a lifesaver. All right. Here we go. All right. Anybody have any questions with number 9? All right, Sebastian. $32. I'm proud of you on that one, buddy. Oh, okay. I mean, double check me on that, guys. 5 to the 5th. Double check me. I think I'm right.
If you're wrong, I'm gonna laugh.
When have you done this wrong? And plus, it's good to learn how to use the exponents on your calculator.
It's just 3,000.
That's what I said. 3,000, not 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. I don't know why I wrote that. 3,125.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what I said. Check.
And
And then it would be what? G to the 10th. All right. Thank you. All right. Does everybody know how to use the caret button? All right. If you want to raise something to a power, we call it a caret button. That button right there. All right. It looks like this on your calculator, guys. It looks like that. All right. Double check and make sure you have that on your calculator now. It's of good value. All right. Okay, here we go. I want number 13. Julian, you got the hard one. This is super, super hard. Anything to the 0 power today is what? 1. Wow, look how hard that problem was. 1. Right? So again, the point they're making, everything in that parentheses is being raised to the what? 0 power. So anything to the 0 power is what? Always 1. So 13 is 1. What? So a power to power you multiply. What's 4 times 0? Listen to what you just said.
Oh, 0.
4 times 0 is 0. Thank you. So now you understand, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. All right, here we go. 15. All right, now for the first time we have a problem. All right, a good one. So I want everybody to look up on here because I've got to show you now how I want you to handle the negative exponents. If you were listening, I already told you how to handle the negative exponents. I said if you have a negative exponent, you just have to do what? Move it. That's right. All right, you move it. All right, and what I mean by that is if it's in the numerator, you're going to move it to the what? If it's in the denominator, you're going to move it to the, come on, it's that simple. All right, it's really and truly that simple. All right, so here for number 15, you make a fraction bar. And this f to the negative 3 just gets put where? In the denominator. So we say that is f cubed. Now, does anything happen to g squared? No. So we just leave g squared alone. Now, what about h to the negative 4? Move it to the numerator. So we have g squared h to the 4th over f cubed. All right? Now, again, I'm telling you, for whatever reason, kids find that very difficult. All right? And it's just because it doesn't look right. I'm just moving something. All right? I'm trying to make a demonstration, so let me explain again. Why? All right? If I say f to the negative 3, you should be able to tell me that's the same as 1 over f cubed. Times, please look up, because this is the math behind it, times g squared over 1 over h to the 4th. Does everybody see that? Now, what happens when I divide by a fraction? We say you multiply by the reciprocal. So instead of doing 1 over f cubed times g squared divided by 1 over h to the 4th, this now is written as 1 over f cubed times g squared over 1 times the reciprocal, h to the 4th over 1. And now, multiply numerators. G squared h to the 4th over what? F cubed. Do you agree that's the same answer? So you can either do that, or you can just say, hey, if I have a negative exponent, I'm just moving it. If it's in the numerator, put it in the denominator. If it's in the denominator, put it to the numerator. Is everybody okay with that? I just think that's a very simple explanation. Or you can do all of this right here is the same explanation. All right? A little bit more complicated. But that's the math behind why you do that. Quickly.
It's only when the exponent
Is negative. Only when the exponent is negative do you move it. All right? When you get to higher level math, you'll be able to leave it as negative exponents. But right now, they tell you to leave all the exponents as positive. All right? So now, let's take a look at 17. Okay, so now we've got some problems on 17. So Hanson, you're up. Okay. All right, now again, this one's difficult. All right, so I want everybody to put an equal sign. All right. Well, if you're not writing the original problem, I don't even care if you don't have to put the equal sign. But you are going to do it step by step now. All right. So Hanson, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to say, look at the fraction. What am I talking about when I say look at the fraction?
Look for negative.
No, I want you to look at the numbers.
But they can cancel.
To what?
1 and 3.
1 over 3. So you write a fraction bar, and the first thing you do is you always handle the numbers. So I'm at 1/3. All right, is everybody going? Now I'm going to work this all out so you can see the process. And eventually you'll be able to skip steps, and you should be able to look at that and tell me what the answer is. Like you should be able to say that's a to the 5th, c to the 13th over b to the 9th. You should just be able to look at that and say that. But of course, we're just learning, so eventually you'll be able to do that. Right now, I'm going to ask you to do what with this a to the negative 3, Hanson?
Move it up.
Move it up. So there's an a squared and an a cubed now. Now what about the b to the negative 7?
Bring that down.
Bring that down. So I now have b squared, b to the 7th. And now what?
And then you bring c to negative 3rd power. C.
Now that's how you should be thinking about it. Come on. You're writing that. Now, from there, now you're just combining, right? So make yourself another fraction. You leave the 1/3. Now how many a's are on the top now? Hanson, what do we got for the a's?
5.
A to the 5th. What about the c's?
C to the 13th.
And what about the b's?
C to the 9th.
Look how easy that is, guys. Very simple. What?
So for the exponents, you add them.
When you're multiplying. Right. Change everything to positive exponents first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got everything, but I don't get why you put them.
Because the fraction 2/6 reduces to 1/3. Right? Shh.
So if I put like 12 h to the 5th and then c to the 13th over b to the 9th, is that
What?
the same?
What do you want?
Is that the same? Do I have to put
Yeah, that's the answer. If you have anything but 1/3, if you have anything but this, you just mark it wrong. All right. Now, if you don't know why it's 1/3, I want to answer that question. Just throw it in the garbage. Do you understand why it's 1/3? The fraction 2/6 reduces to 1/3. Do you agree? All right. Hustle up now because you're behind, okay? And you got to listen carefully to get caught up. All right. So let's jump down to 19 now. All right. Hurry up, Cole. Pull out a sheet of paper so you can listen to the explanation. All right. You'll catch on. All right. 19. Caroline Brandeis, you're up. Tell me what the answer is. Yes, exactly correct. So, you ready? Cole, look up. What did I do to the exponents on number 19 to get that? That's right. That's all it is. Very good. You're in the game already. See? You're ahead of some kids in here already. All right. M squared P. You good with that? All right, here we go. 21. Now we got a problem, okay, Cole? So you got to really listen on this one. All right. Miss Rodriguez, you're up.
Okay.
What am I doing?
You have to move that. Oh, wait.
You can do 1/4. You see that, Cole? We're reducing the fraction. 3/12. Shh. 3/12 reduces to 1/4. Carolina, are you still having trouble reducing that fraction? Now, anytime you have a negative exponent, Cole, you have to move it. All right? And you have to listen to the tape to figure out why you move it. All right, the explanation. All right, so I have to put m cubed on the bottom. And then do I have to move anything else? No, so I want everybody else then just write down r to the 4th, p squared, t to the 4th. Oh, wait a minute. Does anything else reduce? Or is that the final answer? That should be the final answer, right? Right, because none of the variables can cross out because they're all different letters. All right, is everybody happy with that? What?
Does it matter what order, like the?
Generally, we put them in alphabetical order, so P, Q, R. Yes. Generally, put them in alphabetical order, but you can see how well I know my alphabet. So I have to think about it every time. So it should be in alphabetical order, but does it? Would I mark it ever wrong? I don't mark it wrong. All right. It's just when you check your answers, usually they put them in alphabetical order. All right. So there's 21. All right, Cole, I want you to concentrate now. 23. All right, Miss Vaughn, tell me the answer to number 23.
So that would be 9x to the 2nd, y to the 8th, and then that would be 25, z to the 4th.
Okay, that's nothing new there, Cole, right? That's just what we did yesterday. Okay. All right. Number 25. All right, Madeline, tell me about 25.
Would be p to the 6th, and then t to the 25th over 1,000.
Beautiful. Simple, simple. All right. No daydreaming now. Come on. I don't want to look at you and you're looking over around. I want you on the board, making sure you're with me. Come on. Everybody good so far on that? Everybody see? Agree? It's not that hard. All right. Now, in the interest of time, I'm probably just going to start down. Let's work backwards now. Everybody with me? I'd like to jump to the harder ones. Because I'd like to work the harder ones in tonight. You don't have the harder ones to do. All right. So I want everybody to start now with number 55. All right. And we're going to have Abby lead the charge on this first one. All right, now come on, no, I'm serious about this now. Nothing is hard. All you're doing is following rules. All you're doing is following rules. Nothing's hard. So now everybody's got to write number 55 down. I want you to write the problem down. All right. Now the first thing you notice is what?
That it's to the power of 0.
So it's the power of 0, which makes the numerator just what?
1.
The numerator is just 1. Cole, anything to the 0 power is 1. Do you hear me? Anything to the 0 power is 1. So she starts off really good. Okay? So this is a 1. All right? Now, I'm really want you to pay attention now. This whole thing is raised to the what?
Negative.
So I have to do what to that whole thing?
Put it on the numerator.
Put it in the numerator. All right? So I have to put that whole quantity for, what's x to the 0? 1. So I don't have to write that. Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
And so then we would have 4y to the negative 4z close to the 2nd power now. Everybody look up now. Because again, this is tricky. Now notice I moved the whole thing. I moved the whole thing up. Is everybody good on that? All right, put your hand down. All right. Now I have to square everything. So
So that would be 1. So that would be 16.
16, right? Because again, then 16 times 1 is still what? Still 16. So here we go. So this would be 16 y to the what?
Y to the 16.
No.
Oh, you have
Multiply. Power to power, you're
yeah,
multiplying.
So that would be 8.
Y to the what? Come on.
-8.
Thank you. Y to the -8. Y to the -8. And then
Z to the 6. Oh, wait, no,
Z to the
no. Yeah, 6.
Z to the second. Now you're asking me, what? Is that a question or problem? Caroline, are you okay with this so far? You don't need a calculator. What? I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm saying, do you have a problem with what I wrote?
I thought like when you in the bottom you would get to the top of
No. Good question. Finally out of you. Let me explain why. It's a good question. You said, because we moved this, shouldn't it change the -4? And the answer is no, because we're moving this whole quantity up to the top. So this quantity changed from a -2 to a what? +2. Right? Because there's double negatives in there, which messes things up. You hear me? So I bring the whole thing up to fix this first. You understand that? What? Who else? You good on this? Good? All right, very good question. Very good. Okay, so now finish it off.
And then you would make the Y to the -8 and move it to the bottom.
You move it to the bottom. So this becomes 16 z squared over y to the 8th. Now again, guys, it's super important that you're good with this. Super important. Any questions so far? That was 55. All right, let's do 53 together now. All right, let me find it. Uh-oh. We got all kinds of problems here with 53, guys. All right. All right, here we go. Now, again, all right, I need you listening carefully. The whole thing is being raised to the what? So I have to do what to the numerator and denominator? They both have to switch everything. So now, everybody's going to write it like this. Everybody agree with that? What? I never said that. You're just moving it. You're just moving it. That's all we're doing. We're just moving it. Everybody good with this or not? All right. Now, what I normally tell kids to do from here, all right, is to simplify what is on the inside. Now, does everybody agree there's multiple ways of doing this, right? I want you to say there's not always one exact right way to do it, all right? Because some kids prefer to square everything first and then reduce. All right, I prefer to do what? Simplify first because the numbers become easier. Everybody with me on this? All right, so what I want to do is, I think the best thing to do is to simplify first. So if we're going to simplify first, this is still a square here. I need everybody to look at this right here. 6 to the negative, or 6 over -3. What is that? 6 divided by -3 is what? -2, right? Come on, you're good. So I got a -2. All right? So -2. Now, to me personally, I like to put -2 over 1. Just for some crazy reason, I can make mistakes. I just like to put 2 over 1. All right? Now, I have really important for you guys. Tell me about this right here. What goes on? What should I do to those? Switch them both. Switch them both. Bless you. Because they're both negative, right? So I want to go ahead and again, I'm taking my time here. X to the 6th and x squared. The reason why I do that, some of you are going to say, well, I can just do this. You're going to make mistakes, I promise you. Change the negative exponents to positive exponents before you simplify. All right? Now, I have to change this guy right here, right? So I have to move that where? Up. So y and y. Do I agree with that? And now what do I do with the z's? What do I do to the z's? Switch them. So I have z squared, z to the 5th. Everybody happy with that so far? Cole, you still getting there? Good? All right, keep paying attention. Okay, so now we're going to simplify the fraction. Okay, still, negative 2 over 1 is still what? Negative 2 over 1. Now, what happens to x to the 6th and x squared? X to the 4th. And then y times y is? Come on.
Or y squared.
Y squared, right? Y times y is y squared. Y plus y is 2y. So right, hear me. Y times y is y squared. Now I have z squared over z to the 5th, which gives me what? No, z to the 3rd on the bottom. That's how you should be saying it. I have 2 on top and 5 on the bottom. So 2 on top, 5 on the bottom leaves me what? 3 on the bottom. That's how you should be thinking about it. I have 2 on top. Let me show you how I used to show my kids. 2 on top, 5 on the bottom. So I take 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. I'm left with what? 3 on the bottom, not the top. Or 3 in the denominator. Is that good? Come on. You got to, I'm telling you, you got to speak up when you don't know something. And I'm not mind readers, and I can't ask a question for you. So I'm happy with that. Anybody else having an issue? All right, now I get to the final step where we have to square. All right, so when I square, what's negative 2 squared? 4. What's x to the 4th squared? X to the 8th. Y squared squared. Y to the 4th over 1z to the 6th. Very, very, very important. Very difficult, actually. To me personally, I just think it's simple because I can follow what? Rules. All right, I can follow rules. So this was very easy. If you don't know the rules, this is impossible. All right, it's impossible. All right, so let's get a couple more done, guys. Come on. 53, let's pull 51. All right, here we go, 51. Here it comes. All right. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to get in the habit of anything to the 0 power, we can just do what? We can just pretty much do what to it? Yeah, we can make it a 1, or we can just do what? Cross it out, right? Because h to the 0 is 1, and 1 times anything is still whatever that thing is. Do I agree with that? All right, so get in the habit of doing that. I think that's helpful. Now, I'm looking at this big negative 3, which again means I have to move that quantity up to the top. All right, so let's take a look now. Equals, and you don't have to write the original down if you don't want, which I can understand. All right, but you write the first step. The first step is fraction bar. Now I'm going to leave 2g cubed h negative 2 squared times g squared cubed. Now, like I said, guys, I can't do it for you. If you're not sure, you've got to ask a question now. Is everybody comfortable with that? Everybody good? All right. So now, Lander, I'm going to have you try to just kind of walk me through it now. All right, so I'm on this one right here.
Okay, so that's 4
That is, hold up. 4, good, then.
G to the 6
Beautiful.
and H to the 4. Oh, no.
Perfect, right? -4. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay, and then,
And G to the 6.
yes, sir. Very good. That's not bad. That's not bad now. All right, so now, Lander, what do I have to do?
Bring down H from 2 to the -2. And
Wait a minute. Hold on. Just stop. I want to hear him.
you just want to make it H to the 2nd.
Why am I making it H to the 2nd?
Oh, wait, sorry, I was looking at.
I know. Come on.
Sorry, the -4.
Yeah. So on the bottom it would be.
H to the 4.
On the top it would be 4G to the what?
6. Wait.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Look up here. There's
Oh.
G to the 6 and G to the 6. G to the 12. All right. Good job, guys. I thank you. Today was a good job. Very good job. Please just do the odds. Finish up the odds. Tomorrow we're going to do the what? Evens. Okay. Very, very important lesson. Very important lesson.
Alright, it's time to go die in Latin. Princess. Y'all know how this is.